I've been looking at those lights every day since I took the job. I work overnight at one of those big warehouses. It's not an Amazon warehouse, but it's similar. They do a lot of off-brand furniture and things, and me and a couple of other guys work overnight loading trucks. It's not glamorous, but it keeps me fed and my bills paid. It's a 10 to 6 kind of gig. You bring your lunch and eat during one of your smoke breaks, but as long as the trucks are loaded by morning, the bosses don't really care. All that preamble was to tell you that the lights are something I've wondered about since the first night I came to the warehouse. It wasn't much, just a little string of lights in the woods beyond the road, but it took my attention off the playlist I was listening to. It was beyond some trees, maybe 100 feet into the woods, but I wondered what could be back there. Was it someone's workshop? Was it some housing development? Weirder still, maybe it was a government facility or some kind of haunted wooded area. I thought about it all shift and caught myself looking at the woods on the way home, though I couldn't see the lights in the daytime, of course. I dreamed about them that night. I didn't know what the lights were, but I dreamed they were twinkling in the woods as I sat beside the roadside. It reminded me of the lights on my light bright from when I was a kid. Sometimes I would set up the paper and just fill it with the white bulbs and pretend it was a field of fireflies, the ones that came in the spring and summer. I would sit on the back porch for hours when I was a kid and watch them until my mom made me come inside. That's what they looked like to me. And the longer I looked, the more they danced. That night, as I drove past the lights again, I resolved to ask somebody about it. "What do you guys know about those lights in the woods?" I asked, the three of us sorting and loading boxes into tonight's truck. Andre and Kevin looked at each other, pausing for a moment in our nightly drudgery. "The lights along 45 East?" Kevin asked, clearly hoping I was talking about something else. "Yeah," I said. "Why, are there more lights?" Andre laughed, but it sounded forced. "Oh, that ain't nothing. It's just some lights out in the woods. Nothing to worry about." We loaded a little more cheap furniture as I chewed it over, but I still found myself curious about those lights. "But what is it?" I asked again, and the two of them sighed. "It's nothing," Kevin said. "Don't worry about it," Andre said, but they clearly knew more than they were saying. "What's the big deal?" I asked. Why don't you just tell me?" "Because it's nothing," Kevin said, wincing as he dropped the box he was carrying. "And you shouldn't be looking for nothing," Andre added, his face looking like maybe he had said too much. I didn't bring it up again after that, but it was never far from my mind. For 3 weeks, I watched those lights, and then I dreamed about them every morning as I slept like the dead. Then, one night, as I drove past the lights, I couldn't hold my curiosity anymore. I'd driven by an access road that I believed would take me to the lights for nearly a month, and that night, the call was just too great. There was no guard post, no fence, no barbed wire, no nothing, and I figured it couldn't be dangerous if they weren't trying to protect it. So instead of driving to work, I turned down the access road and drove into the woods. Stupid, I know, but I had to know. If it really was a forest full of fireflies or just some redneck solar lights, I suddenly had to know. When I drove under a sign that sat high above the road, I had to back up and read it. "Serene Meadows," read the sign. "A charming community." I was standing in the road, trying to read it in the headlights of my car, when my phone rang. It was Andre, and I killed the engine and sat in the car as I picked it up. He wanted to know where I was and why I wasn't here to unload boxes, and without much thought, I put on my best hoarse, sore throat voice that I could manage. I had only planned to have a quick look, but now I needed to know more. "Shit, sorry, Andre. I just woke up. I've got some kind of crud, man. It's laid me out today. I just need a day, man. I want to shake this off so I don't bring it to work." He was quiet for a moment, and I got the feeling he was listening to something. "You sure you're at home?" I blinked at the phone. Andre had never been suspicious of anything and didn't even really want to know why we were loading trucks in a warehouse in the middle of the woods. But he sounded different today. It sounded like he was trying to catch me in a lie, and it almost made me want to come clean with him. Almost, but not quite. "Course I am," I said, cobbling up a cough. "I just want to go back to bed, man. I feel terrible." "Okay, well, feel better. See you tomorrow night." "Yeah, of course," I told him. When I hung up, I actually sighed in relief. It felt like I had dodged something big, or like I hadn't been caught doing something I shouldn't be doing. I could see the lights getting bigger as I drove up the cracked and unmaintained road. No more than 10 minutes later, I pulled up into a very normal-looking cul-de-sac. Each house, and there were 7, was a different color. There was a blue one, a yellow one, a purple one, a red one, a white one, a green one, and a black one. And in front of each house was a blazing streetlight. Each house was a 2-story, with a large front and backyard and a picket fence around the front of each. They were well maintained, the concrete of the road too, and it was strange to see something like this in the middle of the woods. This was what I'd been seeing all this time, a perfect little community, not that far from the road. As I parked and walked around the neighborhood, I expected to be stopped by somebody. The lights were on in the houses, and I figured someone would come to see what I was doing here. There were no cars in the driveways, though, not even so much as an ATV in the shed. And when I peeked in the windows of the yellow house, I saw it was as empty as can be. All of them appeared that way. The lights were on, but no one was home. It was the strangest thing, just an abandoned subdivision left in the woods. But the longer I stayed, the less alone I started to feel. There was something about the encroaching woods around the houses, the way the trees leaned in, the way the shadows moved in the underbrush. I never felt in danger, but I did feel watched. It was like seeing shadows move for just a fraction of a second, and then slink away before I could get a good look. I finally got up the courage to try the door on one of the houses, after knocking for about 10 minutes straight, but it was locked. All of them were, it seemed, except the black house. I didn't really want to go into the black house. It seemed ominous somehow, but it did, and it was just like the rest of them. TV sitting off as it sat before the couch, kitchen in order, except the fridge was empty, and a dining room set for a meal. The upstairs had 2 small bedrooms and a large master bedroom with a bathroom. The bathrooms, one downstairs and 2 upstairs, were fully furnished, and the beds were made and ready for new owners. The whole place was a little freaky, but I kind of felt like the house had been waiting for me somehow. I know how that sounds, but I felt like I was supposed to be here, you know? And when I came back downstairs, I checked my watch and realized that I'd been exploring for 4 hours. It was pushing 10:30, and I supposed I should bail. There's probably some lazy security guard that would be by around midnight to catch me here. But as I drove out of the cul-de-sac, I couldn't help but feel a pang of loss. It was like leaving home, and I desperately wanted to turn around and go back. I had inadvertently given myself a 3-day weekend with my call-out, and when I got home, I stayed up playing games a little bit before heading to bed. I dreamed about the little community that night, just as I had dreamed about the lights before that. But this time, the dreams were different. I was standing in the master bedroom of the black house, looking down at the street as the streetlights burned brightly. As if on cue, the doors to the other houses banged open, and a parade of shadowy people came spilling out. They exited the houses in long columns, and as they approached the middle of the cul-de-sac, they congregated there, filling the street. The streetlights brightened, their almost eye-watering light becoming even brighter. There was a crackle of electricity, and all the shadow people were suddenly gone. I woke up then, gasping for breath, and wondered what the hell that had been. I went back to Serene Meadows that day, dreams be damned, and by daylight the place seemed very different. The cul-de-sac was pitted and cracked, the road nearly gone from the grass. The houses were still there, but they were peeling, and the windows were mostly broken or dusty. The doors were splintered, and most of them had been kicked in, but it was the street lights that seemed the saddest. The glass was broken, the lights shattered or missing, and the whole place looked like the woods would reclaim them at any time. I was perplexed. It was like a tornado had been through here, and a search of the houses found nothing but gutted rooms and graffiti everywhere. It looked like homeless people might have discovered the place way before I did, and I was glad I had worn boots. There were needles and cans scattered around, as well as a few blanket mounds and sleeping bags, but I didn't find anyone there. Whoever had been living there was long gone. I didn't know what had happened to the place. It had been fully intact the night before, and as the sun set, I got in my car and headed home. Looked like the kind of place I definitely didn't want to be after dark. The sun was dropping as I got back on the road, careful not to be seen by Andre or Kevin if they were heading to work. But as night settled over the woods, I saw the lights again and stopped abruptly in the middle of the road. I stared, not caring if anybody came along to beep at me. I'd seen the place. There couldn't be any lights coming from there. The houses looked gutted, the copper wire probably the first thing to go, and the streetlights were broken and shattered. Still, something made me turn around in the road and drive back to see who the lights belonged to. What I found was the same little community that I'd seen the night before. 7 perfect houses around a cul-de-sac, the streetlights burning bright and the road well maintained. As I sat there marveling at them, though, that was when I saw the first of the figures. With the lights on, they were hard to miss, perfect shadow people, looking down on me from the windows of the upper floors. There were just a few of them at first, but the longer I watched, the more they piled up. Some houses only had a few, but others had dozens. As they began to fill the bottom windows too, I put my car in reverse and got out of there. I didn't know what was going on, but I didn't want to be seen by those things or find out what they would do to me. I drove like a bat out of hell, and when I got home, I felt like I'd run a marathon. I went to bed in my room, but the dreams seemed to be waiting for me. This time I was standing in the road. The lights were flaring, and the doors opened as they came spilling out. I was suddenly surrounded by a sea of shadow people. They were whispering something, whispering my name, and as they gathered around me, I saw the streetlights flare. I woke up to find I wasn't in my room anymore. I was on the bare wooden floor, the sunlight spilling through the broken windows of the black house. I was in the master bedroom of the black house, and by the daylight, it looked rougher than even I remembered it. I didn't know how I'd gotten there, but I knew an Uber wasn't going to come get me this far out. I'd have to walk the 7 or 8 miles back to town. If I wanted to get there before lunchtime, then I better get going. The way up the access road felt like it took years, and as I made my way to the highway, I sighed and started hoofing it. When a car pulled over to the shoulder, I wasn't surprised to discover that Andre was behind the wheel. "Looks like you're feeling better," he said, reaching over to pop the passenger side door open. "Climb in, bud. Let's talk." As we drove, Andre asked me if I had been to Serene Meadows. I couldn't lie, not as I was walking up the side of the road, so I told him that I had been. He nodded, said that he'd been afraid of that, and pulled into the parking lot of this little diner off the interstate exit. We got a booth, ordered food, and he told me what he hadn't wanted to tell me back in the truck when we were loading boxes for the day. I've been there too, Andre said, sipping coffee. Everyone who sees the lights has to go have a look. I saw it, but I'm guessing you've seen more than I have. I saw this pristine little development in the woods and turned back around as quickly as I could. I didn't want to get shot. This is the South, and a fella of my ethnicity who's skulking around after dark is likely to get a bullet in the head and a how do you do later. B, he paused, sipping more coffee. I saw the shadow people, and that sealed it for me. It was just a glance, nothing more, but that was enough for me. I've been loading trucks out there for about 5 years. Did you know that? It's decent work, and the pay's pretty good. In that time, I've seen people come and go, and usually it has something to do with those lights. Some of them just stop showing up. Some of them go crazy thinking about it. But it's like a drug when you get right down to it. You stop it for good, you stop giving it your attention, and eventually you kick it. That's how it was for Kevin, and that's how it'll be for you, too. I choked on my coffee. Kevin seen this, too? Andre nodded. Yep. He and I had a similar talk. Saw him walking up the roadside one morning after calling out from work. Asked him if he'd been to Serene Meadows, and he told me he'd been exploring, just like you. Did he wake up there after the dreams, I asked? And Andre nodded again. He didn't know how, but he woke up in one of those houses. Said he had dreamed about the shadow people. The house, as I think you know, only appears at night. By day, they just look like trash houses. But at night, it's the best little community in the woods. They look comfy at night, but I'll warn you flatly not to spend time there. I've known more than a few people who gave in to its call and simply disappeared altogether. One of them, a guy named Russell, told me he was living in the yellow house, the very same one Kevin woke up in. I looked at him shocked. He was living there? It's a squatter's shack. Why would he do that? Andre shrugged. He said that if he was going to keep waking up there, then he might as well start staying there. He was tired of the walk of shame afterward, and Andre shook his head, trying to find the best way to tell it. He said that the longer he stayed there, the more it resembled the house he saw by night. He said he saw the midnight procession as the shadow people went to the bright lights, and he said he heard them whisper to him as well. What were they whispering? I asked. Not really wanting to know, but needing to know. They were whispering for him, Andre said, and then one night, he just never showed up for work. I knew where he was, but I didn't go looking for him. He was gone, just like you'll be gone if you let that place eat you up. Do yourself a favor and leave it alone. Drink yourself to sleep tonight. Take a sleeping pill if you don't like to drink, but try not to think about that place. If you wake up there, just leave as fast as you can and call me. I'll come get you. If not me, Kevin will. If you can't do that, just come stay at my place for a few nights. I'll watch over you, like I did for Kevin, and we'll get you through this. You seem like a nice kid, but if you persist with this, then it will eat you up. Believe it. I agreed to crash at Andre's for a few nights, but I can't stop wondering where I'll wake up tomorrow morning. Even though it scares me, I can't stop thinking about that little community in the woods. What happened there to make it like this? What darkness lurks through there that makes even the homeless and the desperate leave it be? Most of all, I wonder if those shadow people are the people who tried to stay and were never seen again. As curious as I am, I hope I never find out. Knowing might be a great way to join that congregation one fateful night.
Good evening, everyone.
It's me, Dr. Plague. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's show. If you think you might like a little more spooky in your life, then please feel free to click on one of the videos we have up here. Maybe look at one of the playlists if you're trying to get caught up. I know, there's so many videos on the channel. There's so many series that are going at the same time. Sometimes you just need a little refresher course, and I gotta say, I always enjoy the views. If you're not subscribed, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Maybe hit the bell so you don't miss anything. We upload a lot on this channel, so you won't want to miss a single story as they come out. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click on the Amazon link down there. There's quite a few books in my Amazon account. You can have a look, and if you'd like a signed copy, get up with me through email, and I'll be happy to work something out with you. Also, there's links to my Patreon, and you can become a member on the channel if you'd like your spooky a little bit early. Patrons and members on the $5 tier get their videos 12 hours early. That's in the morning as opposed to in the evening. Patrons at the $10 level also get a signed copy of my book anytime I write one. Speaking of my patrons, you should see them appearing right now. Just wanted to take a minute to say how much I appreciate all of you. Patrons, subscribers, however you give to the channel. I really appreciate everything you do, and it truly touches me that you have chosen to support the channel in this way. Well, that's enough for now. Till next time, Dr. Plague, signing off. Have a wonderful evening.